Things to remember before we move on our two-on, two-off contact training or retraining. When things get muddy, go back to the board on the flat. The board will be your friend for the rest of your dog's agility career. This is something you can do at home. You don't even need equipment to do it. I go back to it on a regular basis just to clear my dog's head of maybe the mistakes I have made in a trial by releasing too early or mistakes my dog has made. I want to keep it clear in her mind that the only way she can release is with a verbal okay, and keep reinforcing that two-on, two-off position. You can put the target back out every now and then, but I really highly suggest that once we fade it next week, you stick to not bringing it back and just marking when those two front feet hit the ground. It's also important, if you're losing drive once you start competing, to start your distance really, really short when you go back to the board. And whether you're on the flat board or the actual obstacle, always prove both sides. Sends, run-bys, lateral positions, any position you can think of that you can encounter at a course, you want to prove it on your board. Also, you want to release to a toy or a foot ahead more than to you. This will encourage your dog looking forward and not making eye contact. We reward eye contact in so many other areas of our training, it's hard to get rid of it once we're training two-on, two-off. But it's very, very important to release forward. And just be relaxed about it. Mistakes are not the end of the world. Just pick up your dog and restart them. If it's too much for them to have that reward ahead, it's definitely something of a challenge to train to, but believe me, it will be worth your while at a trial. Be aware of your dog's head position when you say yes or you click. Try to release when the dog is looking ahead. I know this will be hard for especially herding dogs, but it's very, very important as well. And if you're not happy with what your dog is giving you on the flat, then you can probably just fix it without the board. And again, if your dog makes a mistake, don't feel obligated to reward him for trying. Just give him a simple, okay, let's try it again, and move on. Don't reward a mediocre performance too highly. This will confuse your dog. This includes positions, speed, and releases. If your dog does a 4 on the board, do not reward it. You only want from now on to highly reward with food a perfect performance. See there, Elfie was a little bit too slow, so Shayla picked her up and tried it again. Just don't worry about trying things again and raising your criteria as you move on. For this next step, you can start with a lower A-frame if you think it will be helpful to your dog to drive to position, but it's important to start bringing it up to regular position once the dog gets comfortable driving to two-on, two-off. For this next step, I want you to set a full height table next to the A-frame. I like to use the A-frame because of its width. It allows a little bit more stability than the other two contact obstacles. I like to use this table also because it allows us to work on only the bottom side of the contact and not have to do so many repetitions on the A-frame. Make sure you don't ask for a sit or a stay, and it's better to just restrain your dog and let them go so that we don't ask for too much structure when all we want is for the dog to drive. So restrain your dog and let them go without a target verbal. Only mark with a verbal once the dog is in position, and you're only going to mark with a yes or a click. We want them to offer to go into position. Make sure you prove different positions and make sure you add a little bit of handling. You can add front crosses, lateral motions, rear crosses. You can do a blind cross. Just think of every possible scenario that you can encounter that you would like to be able to get ahead and start working with it now. Also, if the motion is too much for your dog, make sure you just take it easy and don't just rush past it. Just maybe walk past your target. You can raise your criteria and challenge your dog by adding some other obstacles ahead of the contact. You can put a tunnel ahead or some jumps, and be aware of what you're verbally marking. You want to mark your dog looking ahead and not looking at you. So that's why it's important, even if you have a tunnel in front, you can still release to a toy that is halfway between the A-frame and the tunnel. Raise your criteria and challenge your dog in every session. Keep it short, keep it clear, keep it simple, and always keep it fun. If you find yourself saying, "Let me do it one last time," is probably one time too much. Have fun and let me know how it goes.